So now that we have a really good understanding of the YouTube as a whole, as a business, we can start diving into some of the points. And one of the most important points that we're going to cover is going to be in this lesson. And if you take nothing else except this point away, you will still be ahead in the YouTube game. And that is that consistency is key. I'm going to say it again. Consistency is key. I'm going to talk about this over and over and over throughout the course because of how important it is. Consistency with YouTube is key. It is the one thing that'll get you, the growth and the sort of expansion that you want. And the reason being is that people tune into consistency. And remember when we were talking about YouTube as a business, they want people to continually come back to your content. If you can provide that, YouTube will provide you more viewers, more subscribers, and overall, just a bigger growth pattern. So when you post consistent content, you allow people to want to come back to your channel because they know what they're going to be getting when they come back, and therefore you start actually getting growth that you want. Number one mistake I usually see by entry-level YouTubers is that they don't post consistently. They post all over the place with regards to content. They have no style, and that, again, it makes people maybe watch one video, maybe one video becomes popular, but no one actually subscribes because they aren't consistent. So instead of just talking about it, let's actually jump into YouTube, and let's look at a couple of examples on YouTube of some consistent content, some consistent posting styles, and just sort of overall consistency that has helped these channels grow. The first one we're going to look at is the Sam and Nico channel. So this actually started off as a sort of behind the scenes to their main channel, Corridor Digital. However, it's picked up a popularity of its own, and that is because their content is so consistent. It comes out on every other day whenever they're creating content. It's every other day they have a new video coming out. It has a certain style. It has the same sort of quote-unquote cast, which is these guys up here, sort of doing their video making stuff. So it has a niche of video making. They go a little bit outside that, but again, these guys are sort of the consistent part of it. And you'll notice that even their thumbnails are all basically the same. They have whatever they're going to be creating, and then some thumbnail to sort of represent that. They also, like I said, post on a consistent basis once every other day, which gives them a lot of views. It has people coming back once every other day to watch these, and then people maybe will binge backwards and then wait for the next content. It's a very good model to have people continually come back, and you can see they have a lot of success through this. They also have another channel, which is their sort of video game channel, and you'll notice that this one is even more popular than the other one, probably just because this one's been out, I think, 2 or 3 years longer. And this channel actually has 970 videos, and that's something to also understand, is that you're not going to get massive popularity from 20 videos or 50 videos. Some people might. I mean, it happens, but the more sort of average thing is that it'll take hundreds of videos, 100, 200 videos before you start seeing real growth, real sort of advancement in your content. And you'll see that Node does the exact same thing. They post about once every 2 days as well, and they have the exact same thing. The thumbnails are all the same. It's the same group of people playing the games. So, there's something you can expect. FilmRiot is on a different flavor. It's sort of on filmmaking tutorials, and that's what they cover. Ryan is sort of their consistent element. He is really funny. He's got a quirky sort of humor to him, and it all works together, and it teaches people how to be filmmakers. Again, they all have this sort of color scheme that sort of fits with them. One that I'm not, I don't exactly watch some of the top YouTubers, but he is definitely one of the top YouTubers, and that's Jake Paul. He posts once every day, which is very, very consistent. And his videos come out as a little clickbaity, but they work for him, and they get him tons and tons of views. Another one is Andrew Wong. He is a sort of a musician filmmaker, so he's got some really neat stuff in here about filming, and his is a little bit less consistent on the posting. His is maybe once a week, sometimes twice a week, and that's just because he's gotten so big that he doesn't need the consistency anymore for growth. He just makes videos whenever he feels like it. And then finally, we have Good Mythical Morning, and they have 12 million subscribers, and they post 3 videos a day. So, I mean, just think about that. They are posting so much content every single day that they can't not be successful. And then overall, this is kind of just the main point, and I just, drilling it home over and over here, is that consistency is key. Make sure that you're creating consistent content. You come up with a schedule, especially when you're in the growing period of your channel. You need to be posting every other day, every week, every Monday and Friday, something so that people will come to your channel and they'll be like, oh, if I subscribe, I'll actually get more content from these people in, the same niche that I enjoy watching. So like I said, I'm going to drill it home one more time. Consistency is key. Be consistent and YouTube will reward you, because if you're consistent, people come back to your content. If people come back to your content, they start watching ads. If they start watching ads, they start making YouTube money. So YouTube pushes content towards you. So now that we have a good understanding of how important consistency is in your videos, let's take a look at another important point, and that is your engagement rate. So what exactly is an engagement rate? Well, an engagement rate is the percentage of viewers who go beyond just watching your video. So this includes things like comments, likes and dislikes, shares, really anything that is, like I said, beyond just viewing your video. And the reason that YouTube supports this and will promote videos with a higher engagement rate is because it creates a community around the video. It creates a group of people who will support the video, who are talking about the video, who are coming back to the video just for these things like comments, shares, and stuff like that. And this is important because it goes back to YouTube's recurring traffic sort of goal. They want as many people to come back to YouTube and view more videos as possible. So if you have a high engagement rate, it means that you're creating a community around all of your videos. A community frequently comes back to the videos. They'll frequently watch your new videos, and they'll discuss videos in the same sort of niche. So that helps because, like I said, it brings people back to YouTube. And when people come back to YouTube, they create recurring traffic for YouTube. YouTube gets more money. It goes with their goal. It goes with your goal of growth, and it helps everyone out. So that's why engagement rate is really, really important here. And so let's take a look at some of the top search queries on a couple of different searches and see what their engagement rates are. So you'll notice I have this plugin installed. It's called vidIQ. I just have the basic, which doesn't cost any money. I'll show you how to install this and a couple others later on just to be able to view certain stats about videos. But one of the things that this plugin will actually give me is what the engagement rate of certain videos are. And you can see right here, you can see the engagement rates. And typically this is how it goes, is that the one with the higher engagement rate will be higher up on the chain. And then when you get into like pages 3 or 4, the engagement rate will be really, really, really low, like down in the 0.1, 0.2%. There isn't really a good goal for this, but anything around 2% plus, even like 1.5% plus is actually a pretty good engagement rate. If you can get up to 5 or 6%, that starts becoming really, really good. And anything over 10% is a really, really strong video. And this sort of kind of ties into why outrage videos sort of go a little bit more viral than other types of videos. And that's just because of the fact that they're being engaged with a ton. So YouTube deems them as very important. It's going to create a lot of traffic and a very strong sort of discussion around that video. So if you see that, if we jump right into this video right here, you'll notice that the engagement rate is actually 3.1% on here, and it calculates it through all of this stuff. Even Facebook likes, it calculates into the engagement rate. So you see I have the like ratio, the YouTube likes, even dislikes are added into here, and that's just because someone has engaged with the video. They've found it important enough to click the dislike button. Now your ratio is pretty important. It's decently important. So just trying to get dislikes isn't going to get your video higher up. But if you have a few dislikes, some likes, they are going to start kind of combining and coming together. Your comments are also very, very important. It shows that people actually took the time to write something out, and these are probably the most important out of these. And then you have your shares and then your engagement. Shares are also really important. And so when you're a YouTuber, you kind of want to create content that is engageable. You want to create content that will make people want to comment on the video, and even just simple questions in your video. So for example, maybe in this tutorial, he asks, for example, is there anything else you want to learn? Comment below. And that creates a community. That creates people that are like, this is a great tutorial, but I kind of want to learn X, Y, and Z. They'll post it in the comments. He'll make a video on it. They'll come back to watch that video. It keeps going around in circles. YouTube's happy. Your audience is happy. And the creator is happy. It's sort of a win-win situation. So if you create videos that are very easy to engage with, you will create content that is going to be forming communities, which is going to help YouTube out, which is going to help you start getting more views on your videos, start making your channel a little bit more known, start building a community around your channel, and overall improving your growth rate. Another important thing to look at is the sort of tie between the viral video, view duration, and clickbait. View duration is extremely important. It's just as important as all of the points we've covered before. It's a signal to YouTube of how engaging your content is, how good your content is, because it's a measure of how long people watch your video. So typically around about 30% is sort of average, middle average. If you go up to like 40 or 50 or 60%, then you're doing pretty good with your videos. They're having a lot of people watch them and stay through the entire content of the video. This is what YouTube is looking for. They're looking for you to create content that's going to keep bringing people back. That's what we've talked about this entire course. So to ensure that you are bringing people back, you need to have content that is engaging and that is actually sort of fulfilling to the person. YouTube's sort of way of looking at this is your view duration. If you have a really low percentage, like 12, 4, 5%, then YouTube sees that video as something that isn't drawing people to it. It sees it as something people are clicking on, going, I don't want to watch this video, and then leaving. And so that's not going to create recurring videos, because that person will never become attached to your channel that way, and therefore they're not going to keep coming back to watch your content over and over again. So you want to have a really good viral or a really good view duration. The opposite side of this is that there's a lot of focus on people trying to get the viral video, people trying to use clickbait or use some crazy invention or prank or something like that to get to the top of YouTube. The problem with this is a lot of times, especially with clickbait, is you get a bunch of people who come to the video and immediately leave because the title was misleading and the thumbnail didn't show what you were claiming was going to happen. This has a lot of people come, watch the video, and then immediately leave. So your view duration goes from something like the healthy 30% down to like 4 or 5%. And it becomes a video that, even though it has a decent amount of views, it doesn't have a decent amount of view duration. And so therefore, YouTube isn't going to push your channel. It isn't going to try to keep making your channel seen in more and more places, as you are actually just creating content that is not going to get that sort of recurring traffic that it's looking for. So that's very important, is you can create titles that have, catches and hooks to bring people in. But if you start going into the clickbait realm where people are coming to your video and leaving it immediately, and you start getting low view duration, you're going to start getting penalized. Think of it like this. If you had 1 million views at about 2 seconds each, it's worse than 10,000 views at 10 minutes each. It's actually about 3 times better to have that 10,000 views. That's just a sort of a interesting way of putting it together, and so you can visualize that. You're going for view duration. You're going for those quality views, people that come and watch your whole video. It makes your video look better. It makes YouTube start throwing more people your way, and it creates that sort of recurring revenue for them and their recurring growth for you. Also, don't focus on the viral video. The problem is that the market is saturated. There's no real formula to get a video viral unless you throw millions of dollars at it. So sometimes it might accidentally happen where a really neat idea sort of explodes and gets shared around. But you cannot predict that. If people could predict that, you wouldn't have to throw millions of dollars at it. These bigger sort of channels, they have the ability to just create a viral video just because they already have such a strong initial base. But when you're growing, don't focus on the viral video. Focus on creating content that people want to continually watch and releasing it at regular intervals so that people will continually watch it. A really great example of this is someone we've talked about before with Good Mythical Morning. These guys are the king of view duration. They release 3 videos every day, and they have, I would say, probably really good view duration on every one of them. Because what they do is they create a show. Every morning they have a segment. Sometimes it has famous people on it. It always has games and sort of just fun things to do. And as you can see, even though they look a little bit, these thumbnails aren't just plain, but they're not clickbaity either. This is exactly what they're doing throughout the sort of throughout the show. And they break it up into these segments so that people can watch them at their own interval. They show you with these colors which one comes first so that you can watch them all together. They have it all set up so that people can watch their content and easily navigate through their content. And then they don't have to watch something they don't want to. So they have this sort of king. The reason they're sort of the kings of this is because they've set it all up so that people can watch what they want and don't watch what they don't want. And it all sort of comes together in this really great formula that creates recurring growth, recurring traffic, and still draws new people in. So remember, view duration is important. Create quality content so that people will continue watching your videos. Don't focus on clickbait or viral videos. That is fool's gold. It's really a quick way to have sort of sputter out quickly, because you'll have all these videos that no one watches and your channel will sort of be plagued by this. And YouTube will see that and just sort of move on to something else. I wanted to round this section off with a little bit of direct SEO. So what we've been talking about are things and ways to create your content to engage the user and to sort of get on YouTube's good side with the algorithm. However, SEO is important. That's search engine optimization. It's important to sort of put your content in a way that people can find it. So let's just go over some of the things that you can do to your video. There aren't a lot of things, because like on a website, you can sort of control almost everything on it. Here, it only gives you a couple of areas to focus on, and that's exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to show you how to sort of optimize your description, title, and tags so that you have a really good base that people can find your videos with. So first off, you want a title that grabs the user and does not mislead the user. You can have, hooks and stuff like that in the title, but make sure that you're not misleading your user in any way, because like I said earlier, if it does mislead the user, once they get there, they can actually report your video for that and get your video removed. And on the other side, they might just be like, oh, this guy was lying to me, immediately dislike and leave the video. And that's not good for your SEO either. So you want to create something that's engaging, usually with a verb or an action sentence in it. I like to always go with how to create something. So how to create a text shine in animation. It is very plain, but it shows you exactly what's going to happen. And then sort of shows you the effect that you're going to learn. And then it shows you that it's going to be a how-to video. So in just a couple words, it shows you all of this. It allows people to see. I tie that with my thumbnail up here, which is the effect, and then sort of a showing what the effect's going to be. And it allows for a draw of someone looking at that and saying, hey, I want to learn how to create that. In my description, I have a template. You can click and drag this down. I have a template where I have a couple of advertisements for my website, for my course, and then just a little subscribe catch at the bottom. And then right here, I just throw some words in. I go over how to create an animation that looks like light creates the text. Something very plain. If we were really going heavy on SEO, I would probably redo this a little bit. What you kind of want to do is you want to create these keywords that permeate through all three of these. This little thing over here is vidIQ, and in the end of the next unit, we're going to be talking about how to add this to your browser so you can see this stuff, and same with these little numbers right here. But what this basically shows you is something called tripled keywords, and tripled keywords is important because what it means is that you have something that permeates here, here, and here. And that shows YouTube that this video is most certainly about that. So I have text shine and animation. I have animation right here, light creates, and I would probably want to add like text shine somewhere in here as well. And then I have text shine animation, text shine, text in animation, shine in animation. I have all of those sort of packaged up in this like sort of keyword package. And so now anytime someone searches for a shine animation in Premiere Pro, my video is going to come up. It's not a really heavy market, but what I do is I release a lot of content in a lot of different little markets. And that's what gets me my views, is that I have these little tutorials in so many different areas that whenever people search for something, usually my video comes up at least on the first page. And so I slowly get a couple of views on every video a day. That all adds up when you have 200 or 300 videos. You get 600 little views a day, and then some of my videos have gone more quote unquote viral, where they get a couple hundred views a day. So what you want to do when you create your video is you want to find what sort of niche you're targeting, what keyword set you're going to be targeting. It doesn't have to be something extremely popular and extremely targeted and researched and everything like that. That's a good thing to do on some of your videos, but a lot of your content you can just find what is it teaching and then sort of try to put that keyword through all of these. Tags, you want to basically fill this up with as many relevant tags as you can. Mine at 398 out of 500 characters here. And what these show me is what I'm ranking if people search for this stuff. So you can see that shine in animation, text shine in animation, text shine Adobe Shine animation. Those are sort of what are ranking with this, because that's sort of what I was going for. I recreated it here, and I recreated it in my title, and I hit that pretty hard. And now if someone searches for these sort of obscure things, my video will come up. And then I have a bunch of videos that do that. I have a bunch of views that I get from this. So just remember, find some keywords, target it down, and write as much as you can. You don't want to, go overboard where you have, near 5,000 or something. That's great, but what happens there is you start to actually dilute your keyword base. You start to have, it isn't just shine and animation that's being represented in here. What you start getting is you have entire paragraphs represented in here. And YouTube gets a little bit confused as where to place your video. You won't rank as high in that specific niche as you might before. So you want to keep this concise. You want to keep it sort of targeted. And you want to show exactly what you're going to be teaching, and then maybe a little sort of boilerplate template. So up here, make it sort of have an action, make it show you what you're going to do. Here, make it concise, make it describe what you're going to have keywords that share in between these, and tags, just write everything that relates to your video and that shares keywords with these three up here, and you will have the basics of SEO and to get your video into a good spot.